Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by introducing ourselves. I'm Joe. I'm actually Joanna's son, so if you're from Chester, my mum probably cuts your hair. And this is Rick. He is a lawyer. So if you have an accident in the last 3 years, you'll be holding 3 consultations after this speech. It's nowhere no fee. Please mention my name because I'm on commission. But seriously though, we're Ray's childhood friends, and it's an honour to be asked to be Ray's best men. Thank you all for coming and making it such a special occasion. I think on behalf of the bridesmaids, we'd like to thank Ray for his kind words, and I think you'll all agree the bridesmaids look absolutely gorgeous, and Hannah, may I just say, you look stunning.
And Hannah, not only do you look stunning today, I think we can all agree that you are beautiful, intelligent, funny, patient, forgiving, and passionate about rocks. And this rather begs the question, when it comes down to Hannah's husband, really you clearly deserve only the best. Which brings us on to Ray. Now, I sensed a bit of a nervous laughter around the room there. Now, can I just say that actually, me and Joe are utterly convinced that Ray is good enough for Hannah. Yeah, no, seriously, we are. But speaking to a few of you earlier, looking around now, some of you seem a bit undecided. Now, Ray, don't worry, we've got you. We're going to sort this out, okay? So, let's lay down a few ground rules. We are going to be, as well as Ray's best men, his advocates. You, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be the jury. We're going to refer you to some factual evidence, some of which is still sealed from the crime lab. And we are going to persuade you all that Ray is good enough for Hannah. And we're going to do this. I mean, obviously, we don't have time to cover all of your remarkable qualities, Ray. So, we're going to focus on 3. 1, Ray is a true romantic. 2, Ray knows how to look good. 3, Ray is a considerate and sensitive human being. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to my learned friend, Mr. Hartwell Jones, to present the case.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Sorry, I mean Mr. Park. Okay, so, what better way to start than romance? Ray is an old romantic at heart. There's no doubt about that. So look, it'd be no surprise if you can't remember Ray and Hannah's engagement. It was 2.5, 3 years ago. So Ray planned the whole thing meticulously. He spent not days, not weeks, but months searching for the perfect engagement ring. But of course, there's only so much searching in the Argos catalogue one can do. So he got one commissioned instead. It's quite amazing. So the story of Hannah and Ray's proposal begins with a holiday they took to Ibiza. So they went with some other friends of theirs. So I believe it was towards the end of the holiday, Ray and Hannah had developed themselves, and Ray created the perfect evening. Ray began by cooking Hannah's favourite meal. He then coordinated the evening's music so that Hannah's favourite tunes were playing as they were looking up at the stars whilst lying on the sun lounges. And what happened next might be quite symbolic of Hannah and Ray's relationship. As Ray got down on one knee, he proceeded to get the ring out of his pocket and then slipped and ended up on both knees and looked like he was begging. I think maybe Hannah had had too much sun that she said yes. But we think that Ray should be congratulated for making this such a wonderful proposal, one which Hannah clearly couldn't refuse. Round of applause, please.
Now, of course, Ray's romantic proposal came as no surprise to us because Ray's got a very long track record of romantic deeds. I only have time to share one with you today. When we were about 15, Ray, Joe and I got together over a fancy lunch to discuss Ray's latest plan. He whipped out a bottle of fine French perfume and told us about his plans to give this to a fair young maiden later that day. We congratulated him on his plan and then diligently emptied the rubbish on our trays into the bin at McDonald's, We enjoyed our Big Mac meals, and we left. As we left though, Ray suddenly looked a bit distraught. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray had literally lost his bottle. It came to us all simultaneously where the bottle of perfume was. Ray had left it on the tray and emptied it into the bin in McDonald's. Now, Ray is a true romantic, so he was not going to stop here. So we went back to McDonald's and congregated around the bin. And Joe and I observed as Ray tried to retrieve the perfume from the bin. First hand, then an arm. I'm sure his head was in there at one point. But he just couldn't get it out. But Ray, being a true gentleman, again, was not going to give up on romance. So he enlisted the assistance of a hapless female member of McDonald's staff to retrieve the perfume from the bin for him. Having retrieved the perfume, he dusted off the processed beef, melted cheese, banana milkshake, and presented this perfume to the lady later that day. Now this, I don't think the relationship lasted much longer than that, but the point we're making, ladies and gentlemen, is Ray is a true romantic who stops at nothing to impress the ladies.
So that's the first thing done, that's romance done. The next step we have looking good. Please open the evidence, Mr. Parker. So let's quickly take you through 2 decades of Ray's fashion triumphs. Okay, so first up we have Exhibit A, and it is Ray's shorts. Who could forget Ray's shorts? Short shorts. So for those of you who don't know Ray from junior school, he always wore shorts. This was taken in wintertime, clearly, it's frost outside. Yeah, he wore shorts. So next up we have Exhibit B. This is Ray's spiky hair. So this is circa 2001, inspired by characters. We said it was blonde. He said it's blonde, we said it was ginger. That's for you to decide. And next up we have Exhibit C, and it's Ray's famous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt. Ray wore this on various occasions. Well, in fact, he wore it at every available opportunity. You can't clearly make out the Turtles t-shirt logo, but what you can make out is the smug expression on Ray's face. Shortly after this photo was taken, that smug expression was wiped out when Ray crossed paths with a man wearing the exact same t-shirt. Ray was devastated, to say the least. Oh, and finally, we have Exhibit D, a new edition. This is Ray on his stag do. God knows what possessed him to wear this outfit, but, you know, it's just how it is. Great.
Now, before we wrap up fashion, there's one more of Ray's unquestionable fashion successes that we want to touch upon, and these were his popper trousers. Now, if you don't remember popper trousers, don't worry, because when this fashion fad faded out in the 90s, everyone was glad to see it fade away. Everyone, except Ray. Now, these trousers have buttons down the side which you can unpop on a nice warm day, so you can let your legs enjoy the cool summer's breeze. And honestly, we've seen incontrovertible evidence of how much Ray loves short shorts. So when he saw these trousers, clearly he knew they were the trousers for him. Unfortunately for Ray, Joe and I weren't quite so fond of these trousers, and we decided one day that they needed to be confiscated before he got arrested by the fashion police. So we had a coordinated attack. Joe grabbed the crotch end, I think. I grabbed the bum end, and we pulled these trousers into their 2 separate pieces, leaving Ray stood there in his Superman boxer shorts, looking utterly ridiculous, but in our view, vastly improved. Now, Ray was not actually... You didn't appreciate this intervention, did you, Ray? No, he wasn't happy. In fact, this is the angriest I've ever seen Ray in all of my life. He was furious. I think the only time he was angry was when he found out his stag do was in Blackpool. In fact, Ray was so angry that he kicked Joe. Poor Joe here. Kicked Joe really hard. Flying kick. Well, sorry, I know I'm not painting Ray in the best picture here, but the point I'm making, ladies and gentlemen, is twofold. Firstly, this man knows how to look good, and he's not going to listen to anyone else trying to tell him otherwise. But secondly, and most importantly, Ray, you are willing and able to protect the things that you love most dearly. Especially the things you love equally as dearly as your proper trousers. Like Hannah.
I think it's fine. Ray actually emailed me at work last week to, apologise. So that is looking good done, and it's fair to say that Ray is a fashionista. So now we're moving on to considerate and sensitive, and indeed Ray is always thinking of others, and actually welcomed by Hannah in every place except the bedroom. So there was a time when Ray was much younger that he used to get his haircut by my mum, and then they had an ongoing arrangement. Of course, Ray would pay my mum £1 for the haircut. It was the £1 was merely a token gesture. Of course, my mum would probably have done it for free. There was the one time, however, that Ray only had a £2 coin and he stood there waiting for his change. This is all true. Look, ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is that Ray is a patient man. He's still patiently waiting for his change now. So what about this more sensitive side that you said was so important? So when did Hannah first realise that Ray was such a sensitive soul? Ray, do you know? Does Hannah know? Well, it was when they went to see the film Atonement at the cinema. Yeah, he knows. So, a week before they watched the film, Hannah had read a review of the film which hinted at the plot twist at the end, so she was prepared. Ray, unfortunately, was not. When the twist finally emerged and the fate of the doomed lovers was confirmed, Hannah looked over towards Ray to see tears streaming down his face. Bless him. They had to wait for 10 minutes after the film ended for Ray to compose himself. People thought Hannah had just broken up with him. So look, when else does Ray cry? He cries at comic relief. Apparently he also, according to Hannah, he donates sums of money to charity without even talking to Hannah first, which is actually really nice. He cries at charity ads in the middle of the day. And best of all, he once cried at an episode of Secret Millionaire. So, Ray is clearly a sensitive man, and in today's modern world, it's hard for men to know how to be a man, but Ray is leading the way.
I should say, Ray, the one time you didn't cry was at your own wedding. Obviously not as emotional as the episode of Secret Millionaire. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've covered those 3 points and we draw our evidence to a close. And I know what you're thinking. How is it that we've gotten this far through the best man speech and we've not mentioned any of Ray's misadventures with alcohol? How is this possible? Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we can't tell you these stories today. And there's 3 reasons for this. I'm sorry. The first is the vast quantity of these stories. There are just too many to fit in today. The second is the vast number and variety of bodily functions involved in these stories. It's been a beautiful day and we just don't want to ruin it by sharing the story, although if you're interested, Ben Ducken, wherever you are Ben, has a particularly good one, and he describes this story involving bodily functions as the defining moment of their relationship. The third reason, ladies and gentlemen, however, is illegality. Many, but by no means all of these stories occurred when Ray and I were under 18 years old. To say the off-licence near Mick and Penny's house needed to revise its policy on underage drinking is an understatement. Ray still looks about 12 now. You can imagine how old he looked then. So Ray, you'll be relieved to know we are pleading the fifth on your behalf.
Okay. So it's actually time for a vote. So if you think that Ray is not good enough for Hannah, please raise your hand. If you think that Ray is good enough for Hannah, raise your hand.
That is a unanimous verdict, and I think we're ready to deliver our judgment. We confirm by a verdict of the jury that Ray is good enough for Hannah. Well done, Ray!
Okay, so I'd quite like to wrap this up by reiterating something that I mentioned earlier. It really is an honour to have been asked to be Ray's best men. I actually quite clearly remember getting quite emotional when being told of Ray's engagement. Ray and I don't see each other anywhere near as much as we should do these days, uni and afterwards. But I always know that we will be best friends.
Yeah, I can only repeat what Joe said. You truly are our best friend, and it's been a real privilege actually to meet both on the stag do at the wedding today, and also getting to meet your family. Just to know what a wonderful group of people that Ray has surrounded himself with, and that makes it a true privilege to be your best man. And truly, when it comes to picking your best men, Ray, it's the same as choosing your wife. Only the very best.
Okay, so as men who will drink to absolutely anything, it gives us immense pleasure to invite you all to be upstanding, to raise a glass, and join us in the toast of Hannah and Ray, because we think that not only is Ray good enough for Hannah, but we think that they were made for each other.
Hannah and Ray, we speak on behalf of everyone when we say we wish you the very best for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. and Mrs. Russell Manning.